Asia's most wanted criminal has been arrested. He's also known as the Asian El Chapo, which I think is a disservice because he's actually much more sophisticated. But he's a Chinese Canadian drug kingpin. His name is Tse Chi Lop. I'm sure Leonard can correct me on the Mandarin pronunciation of that. Um, but this story is so crazy and it makes me upset, but also strangely kind of proud because there's just so much crazy shit. So, okay, they're saying this guy is one of the best drug kingpins in all of history and much more sophisticated than any of the Latin kingpins because he came up with a business innovation, which is if you deal with me and the police seize your drugs, I'm going to send you more drugs. Commission free is basically a money back guarantee. And that let him rise to the top of the criminal empire, which it makes a lot of sense business wise because like he has almost unlimited manufacturing capability. He manufactures out of Myanmar and a lot of other other countries. So for him, the markup is so high that just just replacing the product is actually not a big deal for him. So he's not trying to like scrimp on every last penny, and that basically got people to work with him because they're like, well, there's no risk if the police, you know, if the police take my drugs, he'll just send me more. And the great thing about this, where it was also more sophisticated, is they said, unlike the Mexican and Latin cartels, everybody worked together because, well, first of all, there was so much money. I think the meth trade went up from 15 billion to 64 billion in a 5-year span as he rose to power. So that's a lot of billions of dollars. But there was so much money flowing through, but also his solution of taking the police out of it and just resending it, it like just took away all the conflict. Like you don't have to murder each other. Like if you lose a package, I'll just send you a new one. Like it was like this ingenious way of running a crime syndicate, which he actually called the company. He an international crime syndicate without that type of friction. It was crazy. And he also the only reason why the police caught him or even knew he was a drug kingpin, first of all, they were saying it was difficult to even know he was a kingpin because when they first found him, they thought he was like, a low level guy who maybe got forced into the drug trade or some shit because he just lived a simple life with his wife. Like he didn't boast the way that like El Chapo did, or Escobar, where they like people knew who they were. He was very happy to just be hidden in the shadows while making all this money. And they only found out, or the only thing that clued them in that he might be higher level is that get this he walked around with 8 bodyguards, all of whom were like nationally trained Thai kickboxers. So they
Wow.
they didn't just shoot you, they could like they could like elbow knee you to death too. It was just like, which shout out to my top people. You're protecting an important man. But the crazy thing is, so just like all great, um, characters in literature, it was his biggest strength was also his biggest downfall. So what rose him to prominence, the whole thing of his money his money back guarantee. What happened was he was working with Australians, which he shouldn't have been because obviously,
You're all
but he one of his Australian distributors was were careless and got caught by the police. But
Mm.
because the amount was so little, the police decided not to arrest them and just to sort of track them. And
Mm.
because they kept losing their shipments to the police, they didn't clue in that the police were like just monitoring them. So they just kept getting this money back
Oh
guarantee
my
over and
god.
over and over. And after a certain point,
Yeah.
the drug kingpin is like, yo, I get it. Like, this is what I'm promising, but y'all are taking it a bit too far. Like, protect your shipment. So
Yeah.
then he was like, listen, I ain't gonna kill your ass, but like, let's talk about this. Like, let's brainstorm. So it seemed like, one of those like, operations meetings as opposed to like a drug kingpin saying, come here, you're losing my drugs, so I can shoot you, is more like,
Yeah. Let's do some process
Yeah.
engineering here.
yeah.
Let's like figure out, the process. Let's sort out like the
Yeah. Do a little SWOT analysis.
yeah.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
so he calls them in for like a process meeting, and then of course the international drug police or whatever follow these complete idiots, and then that's how he got caught. And then he's been on the run for a couple
Wow.
years, and now they caught him. They're trying to extradite him. But
Wow.
I feel I know we shouldn't be celebrating criminals, but like this was pretty ingenious. And
You seem very excited.
well,
I just
honestly.
love how like
Very
this podcast is
Yeah.
so into representation.
Right?
It's like, oh my god, he's like Asian Heisenberg. Oh my god. Like this is the thing. Like when Asians break bad, they're still such overachievers. Like Heisenberg was making meth, he took over a state. This dude took over continents.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it is ingenious. I'll give him that.
Money back
What's his number?
guarantee. Take away the backstabbing and the killing between your different entities. That's just brilliant. Because when you want such a tight grip on your supply chain, when the actual product is so cheap to produce, that's stupid. This dude is ingenious.
Yeah.
This dude is ingenious.
Yeah, no, the shipping probably costs more than the product. I mean, for sure, the shipping costs more than the product. That's the part.
Yeah. You know what I found out about him? One of his, I don't know why I found this fascinating, but one of his aliases is Dennis.
Ingenious.
Dennis.
Yeah, and, the crazy thing is like, so this wasn't going to be one of our topics today, but it was the top trending Google search this morning. And very few times is a top trending Google search an Asian who is who is a Canadian national, trending number one on Google. So that also made me a little bit proud as well. I was like, but the thing is, I wonder how they're going to be treated because this is sort of a weird question I had in my mind. But like, are Asian criminals treated differently?
I
Not
think it depends on the
Filipinos.
crime they commit, and it depends on who's. Like I mean, like for example, you look at like the Huawei woman, like she's being treated pretty well, I would say.
Yeah.
Compared to like the two Mikes over in China who are not being treated very well. They're white. They're not having a good time. But meanwhile, she's like holed up in a friggin' mansion in Vancouver. So.
I mean, he made a lot of money, so I'm sure he,
But he made a lot of money, like in the drug trade, right? Like,
yes,
he violated sanctions in Iran. Like, who does it? Everybody does that. But like, like meth, that's kind of like a.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But on the one hand, I am like really proud of like China is like, now you know what? We're gonna fuck you with drug wars.
We're also
like
proud.
the world's fucking us. No, we fuck you.
I also feel like, and this might be a conspiracy theory, but the operation is so brilliant that I feel like there might still be a person behind the person.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe this guy, like, they just put 8 bodyguards around them to make them look like the target. Like the guy.
I think so. Like this whole plan is so brilliant. I just don't think it could end because would he be dumb enough to meet with Australians? Like,
it doesn't make sense that he would go himself. Like he would send an emissary,
exactly,
to negotiate on his behalf. That's crazy. Like I would never like come up for air if I was that smart. Like it would be like Kaiser Soze, right? Yeah. You don't even think he exists. He's a myth.
Yeah,
he's Dennis.
Like that.
Yeah, I feel like that's the situation here. I feel like they got not the actual guy.
Yeah,
You know what it's like in I think I told this story before, but like when they were filming Tokyo Drift in Japan, like they didn't have the permits to like actually film those car chase scenes. So then the studio just hired a dude to pretend he was the director, and then that guy got arrested and thrown into jail.
Oh my god.
Oh, well, there you go. There you go. But yeah, no, it's we'll close off this segment now because I don't really have too much to say, and I don't want to get into more trouble than I already am by being somewhat proud. Um, but he did a lot of evil things, I'm sure. Although it does sound like there's a lot less loss of life in his criminal endeavors because he's so
Come
brilliant.
on, meth is a victimless crime.